Collection of R&B and soul classics, Jim's been in the studio making music that many are calling yet another new direction. Collaborating with many musicians and songwriters, including his former Cold Chisel cohorts Ian Moss and Don Walker, the album is, I think, very much a mixture of everything Jim's done to date. A bit of rock and roll, a bit of funk and soul, with a smattering of nostalgia for all us old Chisel fans. We went on location during the new video shoot, and I spoke to Jim in the rehearsal studio about his upcoming tour, his new single, Stand Up, and the new album, Heat.
Oh, it sort of fell together, actually. It was one of those, I had a heap of material because I'd, sold heap to pad the time between, so I had like 2 years to write. Ended up with a whole bunch of material, and basically it all fell together in the last, couple of weeks before we went into the studio. And it was really about a band thing. It was real, with Brocky, Tony Brock and Jeff Neal and Michael Haggerty particularly, because we've been playing together so long. It was just, got up and played as a band, basically. Worked really good, really easy, nice and quick, nice and loose.
There's a lot of people saying different stuff. Grunge seems to be the word. Funky. I don't know about the grunge though.
I don't know about grunge. Yeah. I guess it's it's fairly hefty and fairly. I know the big.
Jimmy Barnes goes grunge.
That's me. I don't know about the grunge thing. It's really I reckon more than anything, it's more heavy funk, influence in this. It's a rock and roll record with those sort of, those sly, heavy funk sort of feel underneath it. I wrote the song. It was very much very influenced by Sly. That sort of, once again, that heavy funk stuff again. That voice is sort of, it's a process thing. We just, stuck up, it's the funky voice, and it stuck it through a processor and sort of came up with sort of a cameo sounding thing.
You're really taking your fans on something of a musical journey, aren't you?
It's good to expand and stretch yourself a bit, I'm looking at this year doing something different again, maybe doing a blues record, like similar to a Soul Deep, but only with blues. And maybe going into the southern part of America somewhere and dig up a bunch of old black players and do standard blues standards.
There's also the Chisel influence there. In fact, you've got Don and Ian playing on the album.
It's the first time the three of us have worked together since Chisel broke up. I think it's taken this long for all the water under the bridge to sort of clear, and we're all we're sort of able to do this without sort of feeling that we're pressured to reform or whatever. It's good.
Jimmy Barnes and his new single, Stand Up, and if you're taking notes, the new album is out in 4 weeks' time. Jim's Australian tour started this week in Tamworth, and one of the highlights will be his performance at Eastern Creek on the stage built for Guns N' Roses. That's on the eve of the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix. Well, that's all from me.